Good evening, wrestling fans. Welcome to another edition of Evolution of Pro Wrestling. Tonight, we're going to be doing an exclusive interview with one of the awesome female talents in this industry right now. That she's very up and coming, and she's making a name for herself. We are going to be welcoming in a few minutes the Queen of the South, as she proclaims herself to be, Labrava. We're going to welcome her in as we speak, and I believe there she is right now.
Hello there. You're kind of like muffled a little bit, so I can't hear you, but I can see you perfectly fine.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you hear me better now?
A little bit, not too much, but I mean, I could read lip pretty well. Does that count as a talent? Yeah, you're going in and out, so I can't really. It's like. So, like, I can hear you a little bit better now. Just a little bit. Not too much. But, I don't know. Can you... It's like, you sound far away. Now you just sound like a robot. No. Like I can hear, but not really hear.
How about now?
Oh my God, perfect.
Perfect. Okay,
Hello.
good. All right. Welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you on here.
Hey, pleasure's all mine. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right. First off, we spoke briefly about your career, but I'm still the fan. Definitely want to hear about it.
Yeah. So, I'm Labrava, and I actually just finished winning my first ever title ever in my career from LCCW Lake County Championship Wrestling. We're based over in Eustis, Florida. We're drawing a new venue, and I'm still trying to recall the venue. Nick, please don't kill me. I've been training since May 2017 under Frank Reyes, and I'm going between Frank Reyes and Brian Idol at FTW, Fight the World Wrestling right now. It's been quite a ride, and I'm just excited to wrestle around the world and just chase after my dreams. You know, it's great. Not everybody wakes up every day and says, "Hey, I want to become a wrestler." No, it takes a lot to do what we do on a day-by-day basis. A lot of sacrifice, a lot of missed birthday parties, anniversaries, special events with families and stuff. And sacrificing your shoot job too. So there's that.
Absolutely. I know it's a sacrifice. You got to make. Some people it's hard for them to do, but you actually did it. Very inspiring. For people kind of now that see what you're achieving. You as a female that's part of the male faction. Do you feel you have to work harder than them to be as equal as the men?
Yes, absolutely. And I actually have one member of Controversial Inc. with me right now. So everybody who's watching, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the one, the only, the executioner of Controversial Inc., Mr. Salazar.
How's it going?
Let me go ahead and actually put it over here really quick. Scoot over here.
Yes, I'm part of this interview now.
Yes. But
Got a big head. I don't know if I can.
yeah, he does have a big head, big neck thing. But nice little noggin over here that he got over the weekend too.
I saw that.
Great. Yes.
Yeah, it was a steel cage match. I got hit with a cowbell. So that's two staples.
Yeah.
It was
Really gnarly.
went against Joe Blackburn. He's a very, very, very skillful veteran in this business, and went toe to toe with him, and it was a good
great match. Great match.
No,
I'm still the champ.
Awesome. Hey, that's what counts. You're still the champ by any means necessary, you know?
That's right.
Whenever I'm with him and Mr. C. Hi, Mr. C. I hope you're watching. It's these guys. He's got plenty of more matches under his belt, and Mr. C has plenty of more matches under his belt. So whenever I have to travel wrestling their shows, I think, holy smokes, I have to work twice as hard as they do. I mean, because realistically speaking, and let's be honest, let's call it in the middle the way that it is, wrestling is a male-dominating sport. There's not a lot of females left in the wrestling industry, and it kind of sucks, because I would love to step in the ring with all the female wrestlers. I would love to. Like, please, teach me. Like, teach me. Throw your knowledge onto me. I love to absorb it like a sponge. Every single time I see them wrestle, it's like awe-inspiring. They inspire me on a day-by-day basis, and they're one of the, like, these two guys have helped me since, like, day one, you know, and, like, when all odds were against me, because I had a really tough road getting to where I am at, and a really tough road at that, they were one of the very few people that never gave up on me, and to this day, they still push me to my limits. There's some days where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm, like, barely pushing the fumes, but they say, you really want this? Then push it harder. And I push it harder, and I mean, you work hard, you don't deserve anything. The word deserve doesn't exist in business. You have to earn your stuff. So if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have earned this title. I wouldn't have earned the opportunities that I have right now. So props to Salazar over here, and props to Mr. C, and everybody else that, you know, has been there for me in this journey of wrestling. So thanks, guys.
No, absolutely. And that's a female talent I know should be proud, and especially everything that women now have been accomplishing in professional wrestling. I know that must feel like, wow. The women are actually getting acknowledged in this industry, which a lot of people kind of turn the cheek on female talent. So I know that's something that is good. As a woman in this industry, who gave you the inspiration to become a professional wrestler? Who did you grow up watching as you went along?
All right, so the inspiration was mostly just, gosh, I hope my parents are not watching this, even at the age of 27. So I would sneak into the living room while my parents were sleeping, like when I was like 3-4 years old, and I would watch WWF, ECW, WCW, and I vaguely remember the Montreal Screwjob, which was like the first ever pay-per-view that I snuck up on watching. And then 1999, when Chris Jericho made his debut in Chicago, that's when I was like, you know what? That's it. I'm going to become a wrestler. And I went to my dad that day, and I said, I'm going to become a wrestler. And he's like, no, you're not. And like every single time we would go to the pool with my friends, and even with my dad, suplexes, Germans, and like all this stuff. And, you know, I always thought it was a pipe dream until I discovered that they actually did training at a flea market right around the corner of my house, and it was Frank Reyes, the one that introduced me to wrestling. So Frankie, thank you so much, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have gotten my first steps in professional wrestling. And Brian Idol has helped me develop more skill sets as well. So those two, I raised my fist over to them, and everybody else in between that has helped me out along the way, all the vets, all the trainers. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am today. But ultimately, Chris Jericho, that's the bread and butter right there.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad they were able to teach you and get you more into this industry. Long enough. A lot of pain, a lot of training, mentally and physically.
This is actually just from this Sunday. Thanks to Catalina Perez and Natalia Markova. So if you guys don't know who those two ladies out, check them out. They're very, very talented women. Natalia Markova is an international superstar that's went to Japan, I believe, straight from Russia. And Catalina's been wrestling all over Florida, and I think in some parts of the U.S. too. So props to those two, because girls, we killed it on Sunday. So thanks for literally killing it.
If you had a choice to wrestle someone right now, who would it be?
Does it have to be, like, can it be like an indie wrestler? Can it be a vet, or like
anybody? If you had a dream match right now, I want to wrestle that person right now. Who would you pick?
Best Becky Lynch.
Oh, okay. Good choice.
She loves studying her matches. I love her presence and everything. Like, even before she became the man, like when she first made her debut in NXT and everything, it was like, oh my gosh, she's different. The way that she carries herself and just seeing her like transition over the years and everything, like I could never, ever strap my boots the way that she does, like ever in a million years. There's only one Becky Lynch and there will always be one. But if I could have a dream match with WWE superstar or like just any wrestler in general, it would have to be Becky Lynch. She's everything that I would want to emulate as a female professional wrestler.
That's good. That's good. That's broken barriers in professional wrestling.
And I respect her backstory a lot too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's amazing watching her wrestle. And I like to comment that some of the women have experienced wrestling as of late. So it's kind of exciting to see the best. You said you're going to be on Conquest June 8th. We don't know who your opponent is. You told me your opponent, but I'm sure your opponent is this opponent is going to be.
So Lucha Conquest 4 at NGCW, June 8th. It's going to be Avery Taylor. And I'm excited. I've never stepped in the ring with her. The girls that I've wrestled have actually wrestled her, and they say that she's great. She's awesome. But here's just a little message to Avery. Bring all the guns you want. You can go ahead and bring every skill set under your arsenal. I've got Controversial Link on my side. Who do you have? Just leave it at that. And you can deal with that.
Very strong words. Heard those words. When you won that championship, what emotions did you know, like anxiety, happy, wow, is this really happening when you won?
So, Mr. C was actually ringside for this, and my wonderful partner over here was watching by the sidelines backstage, and as soon as the 1, 2, 3 hit, I literally just like shot up, and I'm like, oh my God, and I'm like screaming at the top of my lungs, and then Mr. C just rolls in the ring, and then he's just like patting my back, and he's like, oh my gosh, you did it. Out comes Salazar with his slow golf clapping like this. You know, and I'm over there just tears. I'm crying in tears in front of like 300, 400 people. I don't know how many people there were, but it definitely felt like 300, 400 people out there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm crying in front of all these people, but I could care less. I accomplished something that so many people said that I could never do. And this goes to show you, sometimes doubters actually help fuel the fire. So if you have more doubters, feed off of that. Use that as your strength. Don't let it bring you down. Just crying, and then Mr. C's here, Salazar's over here, they pick me up on their shoulders. We celebrated the win together, because it's not just me that won. We all won that thing. Mr. C won against Venom. Venom's a great competitor, but Mr. C got the upper hand. Salazar went toe-to-toe with Blackburn. Blackburn's a great competitor. Great bet. Much respect. But the heavyweight champion came up against him. And of course, I came up against Persia. Persia's a great up-and-comer. Props to Persia for going toe-to-toe with me. But I became the first ever LCCW Women's Champion. We all won that day. It wasn't just me. We all did. And we were all celebrating our victory. And it, like emotional, just tears. I was shaking. And then afterwards, I was just back to insulting kids and, you know, shouting in their face and just saying to them, hey, just sit down. You pay tickets to see me win. So it was great. It was a great experience. It's May 25th is a date that I'll never, ever forget.
That's good. That accomplishment under your belt, and you're going to be fighting champion.
Oh yes, I welcome all wrestlers. Man, I'll fight Salazar for this title. I'll even fight him. I'll fight Salazar for this title. I'll fight Persia again. I'll fight anybody for this title. I want to put prestige on this title. It's the first ever women's title, and if I'm the first champion of that company, you know, I want to put some respect to that title. I want it to be, you know, I'll carry it as long as possible, and I will fight everybody. But the people that come afterwards, you know, I don't want them to look at the title and just be like, oh, this is just a piss break. Like, let's not even watch this. No. Women's wrestling is always changing every single day, and I want it to be like that for this company, indies, just in general. So all up-and-comers at LCCW, whoever wants to wrestle for this, come for me. I'm ready for you.
Absolutely. And we have one final question before we leave. Is there any advice out there you would like to give any female talent, anyone who's new in the wrestling business, how to go about it, and pretty much how to get into the industry, refereeing, ring announcing, just training in general? How would they go about it?
Don't let the way that you look be something that holds you back. And I'll be honest, and a lot of people know this because I publicly say it because I'm not afraid of, telling my story, but I used to be a counselor for the longest time. I think the only sports that I ever did for a living was swimming. And granted, swimming was great, but it wasn't something that I liked. But I was always kind of like the out-of-shape, outcast kid growing up, always like a little bit more on the heavier side. Granted, over the years, wrestling has helped, but don't let your size and structure actually define who you are. One of the biggest examples that I could put is Tammy Callahan from the Indies. He was huge when he first started wrestling, but look at him now. Look in the position that he is right now with TNA. I believe that he's in TNA right now. If not, please correct me if I'm wrong. But look at how fit he is. People always have like this stigma that if you're fat or you're overweight, you can't wrestle. Look at how many people are huge, but some of them move like cruiserweight. Some of them are doing cruiserweight moves, and some of them have this athletic ability that not even people my size have. Don't let bullies influence you in stopping achieving your dreams, because if you let them, then the only one that's disappointing you is you. When you're looking in the mirror, you're looking at yourself. You're fighting a battle with yourself. So are you going to let you beat you, or are you going to beat you against you, if that makes sense? You don't want the dark side of fear affect your entire life. Forget about that. No, and go out there. Go out there. Look at flea markets. Look at buildings. Go ahead and research online. Wrestling schools near me. Just make sure that it's coming from people that that train, or people that come out from that school that are trained by professionals and stuff like that. I got trained by Frank Reyes, and he's trained a plethora of wrestlers, and I've been trained by Brian Idol, and he's trained a plethora of wrestlers now. Some of them are champions. Some of them are making huge names all over the world. So don't let anything stop you. If you really want something, chase after it. Doesn't matter who says it, what gets in your way, go after it. Why not? If wrestling was as easy as everybody said it was, we would all be doing it. But it takes a very special individual to do wrestling, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Very inspiring words. Many people heard what you just said. My wife is very inspired by this. She's a director. Huge wrestling fan. She loves when the wrestlers folks they're taking over, and she was very happy to produce this interview today. Glad that you came on the show. We appreciate you coming on the show.
Appreciate you guys for having me.
No, definitely. We're looking forward to seeing you at the Conquest 4. To watch that match. It's going to be a good match.
Definitely, guys. It will be a great match. Come check us out at NGCW Lucha Conquest 4. It's on June 8th. It's going to be in Orlando, Florida. Controversial Link is going to be in a fatal four-way elimination tag match? Yes, and they're going to be crowning the first ever tag team champions. So Controversial Link will also be in action. I'll be in action against Avery Taylor. Avery, like I said, you're a great competitor, but there's always somebody better. So I know it's big words, but I'm that confident, and I know that we're going to have a great match. So I can't wait to see you June 8th.
Absolutely. The Queen of the South, Labrava. She's ready for
and what I said as well. Don't forget that.
She's ready for Lucha Conquest. Thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, and hope to see you at Lucha Conquest.
Absolutely. There you had it, fans. The Queen of the South, Labrava. She will be at Lucha Conquest. What a miss. Thank you for joining us for the interview. We appreciate all you viewers that were watching, and tune in to this week's show, as always, at Friday, 8 p.m. sharp. We're going to be talking about things that should be brought back to wrestling. Thank you for joining us, fans. Again, from us, Evolution of Pro Wrestling. Take care and have a good night.